Greetings, lovers of lore. Thank you for joining me for this discussion of the dark denizens of Duskmourn. There are a bunch of horrific beings that wander the plane, and we're going to take a look at a number of interesting ones, starting out with the Mind Skinner, which is a horrific being that is the living embodiment of the combined fears of all of the Razorkin. The first true nightmare birthed from the residents of Duskmourn. It's a towering reality-warping beast with incredibly large claws and a body covered in wicked spikes. Despite its massive physical power, it actually attacks the minds of its victims. Grabbing hold with its inescapable talons, it cuts away every shred of memory until nothing but gibbering fear remains. Your only chance of survival is to be accompanied by a glimmer, which can shield your mind. But not even the power of a glimmer can restore memories that have already been obliterated by the Mind Skinner. Then we have Altanok, the thrice called. Altanok is a towering monstrosity, a hideous fusion of insect and man created by Valgavoth during his early years of expanding to take over all of Duskmourn. Altanok's name is actually the sounds that it made during its creation. Rumors abound that some variation of Altanok's name is an incantation that can unmake Valgavoth, which has led many desperate souls to attempt to recreate this spell using parts of Altanok's name as a starting point. Unfortunately, Altanok can't abide its name being spoken aloud. It causes the beast to re-experience the incredible pain inflicted on it by Valgavoth's cruel twisting of its form. Altanok also has prodigious hearing and can locate even a whisper of its name anywhere on Duskmourn. Speak its name one too many times, and the last thing you will see is Altanok barreling towards you, intent on silencing you forever. Then we've got Arabella, a cursed doll. Most toys in Duskmourn that quicken and come to life are instantly malevolent and seek to harm everyone around them. But Arabella's story is more tragic. She was awakened to genuine feelings of love for her owner. Unfortunately, the little girl who owned Arabella was terrified by her awakening, and at first tried to abandon her multiple times, but Arabella kept returning. So eventually, the little girl smashed her porcelain body and tossed the broken doll into the intense heat of the boiler bilges. Arabella managed to survive, but her spirit was soured from the experience. She found that she wasn't alone in the boiler bilges. Many other toys had experienced a similar fate. Arabella rallied the broken and angry toys into her own personal army that now roams the halls of Duskmourn, exacting a terrible price from everyone they encounter. Then we have Victor, Valgavoth's seneschal. So Victor leads the entire cult of Valgavoth and is known as the first child of the all-devouring father. Victor has undergone the rite of threshold, a ritual where the person is placed inside a cocoon and then has aspects of their personality purged. Victor has undergone this ritual over 30 times, more than anyone on Duskmourn. He's a blank slate with no sense of self remaining, although this is hidden behind a mask of fatherly welcome. Victor is the only denizen of Duskmourn who speaks directly with Valgavoth. He divines the demon's wishes from whispers only he can hear, and he's the only living being that knows how to locate the below. That is the location where Valgavoth resides. Clad in his ceremonial moth-themed vestments, the most unsettling aspect of Victor are his eyes, which see everything while revealing absolutely nothing. Then we have the Swarm Weaver, a special horror birthed by accident. The Swarm Weaver is a wickerfolk scarecrow that carries within it an entire hive of corpse bees. Once the swarm weaver had been mortal, an elvish scout that had the misfortune of stumbling into the home of a swarm of corpse bees. The bees descended upon the hapless elf, chewing through his skin, and made their way into his muscles. Corpse bees were known for using their victims as living hives while they fed on the poor soul's bodies from the inside. Maddened by the unending pain, the elf ran through the hauntwoods until he found some wicker folk. He willingly allowed the wicker folk to transform him into one of their kind in a bid to escape the flesh-eating bees, only to find that while he was now a wicker folk, the pain remained, and the bees still crawled inside him. Thus was born the Swarm Weaver, a horrific being that can only seek temporary relief from its pain by finding others to infest with his corpse bees. Once the bees finished feeding, they return to the Swarm Weaver and his pain resumes, leading to a never-ending cycle of seeking new victims. After that, we have the Jolly Balloon Man. The Balloon Man is an absolute freak who considers himself an artist of the highest caliber. With intricate skill, he removes the skin of his victims' heads while preserving every aspect of their features, immortalizing them as decorations for the razor mazes. His favorite thing to do is pick off a group of survivors one by one and artfully place the balloon heads of each victim in a location where their friends will be sure to find them. He savors the panic that it causes. We have next Marvin, the murderous mimic. Marvin was once a ventriloquist's dummy. On a whim, a razorkin decided to use the puppet to terrify one of its victims. It was then that Marvin quickened, becoming a sentient horror. Marvin's first act was to turn on the razorkin, grab its machete, and hack it to bits. Marvin has the ability to absorb the personality and abilities of anyone or anything he consumes a part of. Marvin prefers to eat his victims using his prized set of teeth. He assembled them one by one, stealing each one from a different victim. Marvin's goal is to taste every being that exists on Duskmourn, including Valgavoth himself. Next up is Rendmaw, the Creaking Nest. Rendmaw is a scarecrow birthed from a twisted ritual. A group of survivors sought to escape the horrors of Duskmourn by becoming wicker folk, but they wanted to minimize the negative aspects of the transformation, so they altered the ritual. But things went poorly, and the ritualists were instead bound into one massive being made of both flesh and wicker wood. The meat from Rendmaw's body proved to be irresistible to the flesh-eating crows of Duskmourn, and once they fed upon Rendmaw's body, the crows and the wicker horror were permanently psychically linked, traveling together ever after. Then we have the Master of Keys, a spectral apparition seemingly made of shadows and tattered rags. The Master of Keys is inextricably linked to the doors that litter Duskmourn, able to control where people end up after stepping through a doorway. It uses its powers to aid cellar spawn in their hunts, and sometimes, for its own amusement, it traps survivors in endless loops that can't be escaped. Anytime someone steps through a doorway, they risk drawing the attention of the Master of Keys, because it resides in the liminal space that exists in the threshold between the rooms of Duskmourn. And the final horror we have to talk about is the Lord of Pain. Once a regular human, the Lord of Pain became a razorkin, one who was obsessed with the discovery of new types of pain. He experimented upon his own body in this quest for new sensations of excruciation. Trying to find new levels of agony caused him to trap a cellar spawn and extract the essence of pure fear from it. He injected the essence directly into his veins and felt his mind torn free from his body, flung into the screens of Duskmourn. This new existence came with a delightful discovery. Anyone that he watched get hurt allowed him to feel every bit of their pain. And each time it happened, it was as if he was discovering pain for the first time. The Lord of Pain embraced this new existence to spend all of his moments reveling in the pains of others. Survivors believe that his body lays hidden in the razor mazes, where if it can be found, it can be used to utterly destroy him. The Lord of Pain ensures that this rumor spreads widely across Duskmourn because he knows it will draw more people to the razor mazes where he can feed on their pain. And that ends this installment of Duskmourn lore. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to support this channel, you can join the channel's Patreon or the channel membership. A big thank you to my patrons and members for supporting my work. I will see you all in the next video. And in the meantime, go enjoy some more lore on this channel, because at the end of the day, lore is life.